Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, Barry here again. Hey everybody, Barry here again. More engine stuff. Man, I love this thing. I love working on it. I love picking at it, learning new stuff. Very exciting. So today I wanted to start with a big thank you to a guy who watches the channel, and I've known him for a long time. He's got one of the fastest trucks on the island. And he sent me this. This is GM part number 12557840. And it's a new crank bolt. It's not the biggest piece of the Destroked 6-liter puzzle, but definitely an important piece. And I put a post on Sloppy because I had two different types, one with a washer and one with like this style, and everybody laughed at me. They're like, "You're an idiot. What are you doing reusing a crank bolt?" And I was like, I don't know. I always have. So Charles was like, "I cannot have that. I have one bought. It'll be mailed directly to you." It showed up today. So that's a big thanks. That's deadly. That's going in the parts pile. I'll put that right in there, safe and sound, so that I don't lose it. What did I do? Last video, the pistons, rods all balanced. What I'm going to be doing today is, I think I'm going to clean up this block, because this is the central piece. It is literally the middle of the engine that has to be, start there, work my way out. I've got my heads sort of in soak. This is just a little test I did last night. You can see the water line right here. I put in this nasty, dirty solution here that's pretty much all used up from the pistons. And then I took another head and put in here. We can see that it's gotten a lot darker than it was. So I'm not even going to pull that up yet until tomorrow. It'll be still in this video, but it's only been in there probably 4 hours now-ish. And even the dirty solution did really, really well. Like, I just went over that and gave it a quick wipe after. Can't wipe this off. That came off like nothing. We can even see in the exhaust port that that's a major difference. Intake ports look decent, but we can see that the intake flange made a big difference on that. Same thing up here in the rocker area. So I think this stuff is going to do really, really well. I'm really hoping. So after it's cleaned up, I'll take the head out, flip it upside down, put it back in, soak it again for another night. This is going to be a long process, but all good things take time. So before I go rambling on and taking too much time talking about this, I'm going to go clean up that block. Just going to give it a quick wire brush over, pull the knock sensors out of it. I'll probably pull the caps and the bearings off and take out this plug here and these here. And I'm going to just really, really give it a good clean. Well, this block is not horrible. It is a little bit rusty and gross, but definitely not the worst one that I've done and painted. There have been some pretty rough ones. Like the first 5.3 that I had, it had something like 300,000 kilometers on it, or 250. And I don't think it was ever undercoated, nothing. And man, it was rough. It had like scale on it. I had to beat the scale off with a hammer first. And I was almost afraid that I'd get into the water jacket. Maybe it'd be fine, but I was extra careful with it. I just taken out these plugs because when I power wash it, I want it to go like everywhere. But there's definitely still some rust in here. Now I'm going to take off the knock sensors, pull the caps off. I'm not going to use these main bearings. I did get a really, really good set out of, I think, the 4.8 that matches the crank. So I'll reuse those. Just make sure the caps go back in the same place, in the same orientation. But first, this block has to be cleaned. So, as of right now, just a plan. I think I'm going to run a chaser through every hole in the block. I've got extra head bolts, so I'll cut some slits in a head bolt long ways and run them down through all of the bolt holes, just to make sure that nothing is going to snag. I know, yes, most of this is unnecessary. Like balancing is unnecessary. As clean as I'm trying to make it, you know, but I've got time and I want to do this the long way, I guess, the clean way. The cleaner it is, the better built that it is. Should be a better running engine and hopefully a stronger engine. Or it might blow up. Who knows? But if it does blow up, you guys are going to be the first one to know anyway. That was the wrong size socket and it still worked. Okay, 13 for the mains. This little gun makes everything so much faster. And the side main cap bolts are not in it, so I don't have to worry about those. This crank sensor I'm not going to need because it was a Gen 4 block, meaning it had a 58X reluctor and a gray sensor. I'm going to be using a 24X reluctor, which is a black sensor. So I'll put that one in the box of spare sensors for next time. And now I'll fight with these for 5 minutes. Oh, never mind. So I want to mark these which way goes forward because I always struggle with how that goes actually. Every time, and I've built like a handful of these, probably 6 or 7, at least rebuilds, and I always have to go searching for which way the caps go. So, not today. So I'm just going to go 1 with an arrow, 2 arrow forward, 3 arrow forward, 4 and 5. That should hopefully make my life a lot easier. Now these bearings do look fine, so I'll probably save them for another build, of course. It's much easier to get these caps out without the crank on it. 3, 4. Always found it a lot easier to lift the bolts up a little bit so the threads are digging into the caps and then sort of wiggle it back and forth. Obviously, everybody already knew that. Boop, 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 boop. And now this tensioner, or guide. This is one that I got in a Chloe's timing kit. It's really good. This one I find a lot better than the spring tensioner. The other one tends to break and leave parts set in your oil pan, and that's not good for business. Okay, all bolts are out. And all the cam bearings are in, but I didn't look. I just know they are. Just for anybody who watches Sloppy, we don't look at cam bearings. Or I learned from Sloppy not to look at cam bearings, of course. Oh yeah, this front thing. I actually went nuts and bought a new cam retainer plate too. I've always reused these, but this, if you can see it, yeah, kind of. Yeah, let's get closer. Right here is your 2 oil feed bores for your lifters, and oil comes across this feed and then out, so it has to stay inside this section here. And if this gasket is all flattened out, then oil can spray out around this, and you can lose oil pressure to your lifter bores and cause ticking and all that not good stuff. Oh, you can see that this engine is absolutely rotten. Horribly rotten, actually. So, this is what I get for leaving it in my garage with like sawdust and old parts, and that was just a bad idea from the beginning. But it was safer in my garage there for a year or two than it was where I can see it and I'd be like, I'm gonna do something with that, or at the wrong time. But we're ready now. This is the right time. It's winter in Newfoundland. There's nothing to do. You can't do anything cool in Newfoundland unless you own it like a snowmobile, which I don't. Oh, mine doesn't. I don't want that yet. I have scraped some stuff on this. This is incredibly gross, but find it a lot easier to clean the block if you've got all the rusty, crusty stuff off first and then soak it, because you're not, without some real serious chemicals, you're not going to soak rust off. So better to get that out of the way first with a little bit of labor. And if you're painting your block, then you'll find that it's a much better quality paint job when there's no big flakes of rust hanging off. And to be honest, paint is going to be the main focus of this thing anyway. So I want it to look good. It's coming along good. It's coming along pretty well. So I know I'm going to have definitely some water, probably some of this dirt or rust in around the oil galleries. So the plan there is to really soak it really good with this stuff. It's called Foamy Kleen by Clean Flow. It's wicked stuff, like shaving cream. So I'm going to soak that all really good, and then I'll power wash the whole block, inside out, everywhere. Then go over it again, make sure there's no grease, and there's not a big amount of grease in this thing. The engine, or the truck that this came out of, I don't think it leaked anything because there's no actual oil on the outside. It's just mostly surface rust. But Jordan did spray the whole interior inside of the block with what looks to be maybe fluid film or something like that, so there's no rust at all inside the block. So that was definitely good thinking on his part. So then after I have it completely cleaned, we've got a real high-powered spray gun thing that you put on shop air. And I'll completely spray out every orifice in here and put the vacuum, we got shop vac or whatever, put the vacuum on the other side so if anything blows out, it'll immediately suck it back into that. So I'm hoping that it'll get like everything. I'll make sure I do a really good clean. I would take out these plugs if I had them, but I don't really know where to get those. I don't know if that's just a machine shop thing or not, so I'm not going to bother taking those out. A little bit of extra flakiness over here, which I think mainly is just paint coming off. It's a little bit stubborn, but I kind of like doing this build in real time, not a lot of time lapse, because you get to see exactly how much time goes into a build. And this is not even a build. Like, I'm not here doing 3-angle valve jobs or I'm not even going to plastic age the bearings. Because in my experience, I know what to look for. In my little bit of experience, I know what to look for a good bearing or a worn out bearing with this stuff anyway. And I don't really necessarily see the need for plastic gauge unless the bearings are completely worn out, because I don't have anything changed in this. It's not a different crank that's ground. I didn't have this line honed or bored. So they're not going to be too tight. If anything, it might be a couple thou loose, but I'm going to port the oil pump anyway. So it's a long process. But if you enjoy a little bit of time to yourself and just working away, and no real stress with this stuff unless you make stress, or if a bolt twists off. But luckily this engine was already taken apart for me. Oh, and today, Lance Cole stopped by and dropped off another set of 862 heads for me. He had them changing his out for 243s, and he had the 862s, just the stock heads laying around, kind of going to toss them if they get in the way, and he brought them out to me so I could use them either on this one or on the next 5.3 that I build. Which there's always going to be a next one. I don't see an end in sight for anything that I do. So I appreciate that. Thanks, man. That's wicked. I was looking at something today. A guy had a post on Sloppy. I think it was on Sloppy. He had a Pontiac G8. And he was putting twin GT3582s, which is, I think it's a 62mm turbo. So I looked on eBay Canada, and they're like $211 each, free shipping. So that's like an insane price for like $430. I could have twins for that rod. No, I know they're like ridiculously cheap China boys, and they're no True North turbos, but it'll get me a little bit of boost for a little bit of time and hopefully not implode the engine. So I'm thinking about the next time I do a couple tuning jobs or something like that, maybe save up a little bit extra money and maybe pick those up. They shipped quickly too. They were in Ontario. So I can't remember what the seller name was, but I just typed GT3582 turbo in eBay. Dude, this is going well. It might look like a lot of work, but it's not serious. I just like using a screwdriver to get all the really stubborn loose stuff off. A wire brush gets the other stuff. I also need to clean up the deck, and I'll do a sand on that with probably some like 320 grit sandpaper or something like that, because it's kind of scaly looking. Well, that looks decent. I always wanted to build a big block. Where are you going? I always thought it was really, really cool to do like a 472 or a 500 or one of those big Cadillac engines or something. But Eddie Stanford just got one of those engines, a 472 I think, and he was like, dude, heads for this is like $3,000 for the cheapest set. I was like, okay, that's not gonna work for me. But they are super cool engines. That is pure nastiness in there. Oh, let's give her a spray, see what happens. Man, I love this stuff. It gets everywhere. But I'm just gonna leave it to soak all night. Soak to have some real long soak time. I might even spray it down with some more of that everything cleaner too, maybe. Just see what that does. I always do the back of the block too, just to make that clean too. I know it's not really necessary, but Well, it's looking good. I like it. I like putting a big piece of cardboard down so that anything that runs off doesn't have to go on the floor. It can just land on that cardboard and I can fold it up and throw it right into the garbage. Oh, I was spraying on myself. And this stuff comes in like a power washer. I'm going to spray it all down in the water jackets too. Because I imagine whatever rust is on the outside of this is probably on the inside also. And that's not going to help anything. Dude, this can got a pile in it. Now this block is like dirtier than I'm used to. So I'm gonna let this soak, like I said, all night. Make sure it gets all, the best chance it has of getting clean. We've got on the power washer here, Craig's got this setup that he puts soap in it and it's like a foam cannon or whatever, I guess. So I would say I'll probably put everything cleaner in it and foam cannon the whole block too. Make it extra wildly clean. As this foams up, you can see it start to turn color. And it foams up and lifts the dirt and the grime and the rust. And it just rips off, which is wild. I'm going to spray the whole can in there because I'm wasteful apparently. It is dirty, but I'm really, really happy with it. I'm still not quite sure if I'm sold on yellow or not yet for the block. So we'll see. I do love the look of a Ford blue block. It's empty and it's still spraying stuff out. I thought there was a bolt twist off in it, but it's just plugged completely full of sawdust. I guess that's kind of a good surprise, I think. And it's down in the lifter bores, everything. It's down in these DOD ports. This needs a real good cleaning. Sweet. Here we go. I'll let this sit for the night. Let it really start loosening up that nasty old dirt and grime. As we can see, there is lots of it. Everything you see there that's brown is all like dirt, sawdust and stuff. But it's not ridiculously actually rusty. These main caps over here I can just get at with some brake cleaner and clean those up. There's no rust or anything on those. They'll be fine. And now I guess I might as well clean up these main caps. I took the bolts and the bearings out of them. Just put them aside. And a little bit of brake cleaner to wash off the arrows that I painted on them. Should have had gloves on, my hands are already dirty. But I did point them all so the arrows are in this direction, so I remember. I'll just paint them back on after. This stuff is all super sharp. The machine surfaces on these are like wicked sharp. I'm going to do a bunch of modifications for better oil flow and stuff, because having not good oil flow is something that I'm not really into. So there's porting the pump and shimming the spring. So you basically just make the spring shorter, which drives up spring pressure, and that gives you a higher relief pressure. So instead of the spring opening up at say 70 psi, it'll open at 80 psi or whatever. Might not be those exact numbers, but just more pressure is the name of it. So I'm going to do that. And also I saw a post where guys chamfered the thrust bearing for better thrust, especially when you are using a manual transmission with a heavy clutch, or a torque converter without an anti-ballooning plate. Now this is not going to have that issue with the anti-ballooning plate because it's the Rat Rod's manual transmission, but it does have a heavy duty clutch in it. Okay, number one, all cleaned up, looks good. Never enough of these little trays around. Put that in there, it's perfect. I go through a pile of these blue rags, but they're not real expensive, so they're good. Sometimes these do leave a little bit of fibers on what you're working on, especially on sharp edges. But before I put everything together, I always give it a quick blow off with the shop air just before assembly. I always feel like no matter how many times I wipe this stuff off, there's always grease on it. Two. One thing I've always wanted is a set of these numbering punches that you see how this sort of dimpled in there. I take apart and put together a lot of engines, and that's one thing that I'd love to have and haven't really got around to ordering. I only think about it when I'm in the middle of building an engine and go, man, I wish I had one of those punches. Because having a center punch and going bang, 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 bang to get number 8 on it is just kind of dumb. It works fine. It works perfectly fine, just takes extra time, and I'm like, man, it'd be sweet. So if you know of a link of those for a decent price, like comment the link. I'll probably end up ordering them at some point because that'd be sweet. Especially for numbering rods and pistons and stuff. That goes that way, and that's 3. Because this marker stuff, you know, it wears off. after a while. Or like right now when I'm cleaning this, I just wore off every bit of it. I'm really surprised at how well this is coming out actually. Number 4, go that way. I think I enjoy cleaning this stuff just as much as I enjoy putting it together and torquing everything, and then the first fire up always makes me sick. I always get, I don't know if you call it anxious or what, but I actually get sick to my stomach and I want to throw up every time I do a first start. Not because I think anything is wrong or anything's going to break or what, but I just get this sick feeling up my stomach, right up my throat. But somehow I love it. So if if that feeling ever goes away, I'm probably complacent and I gotta step back. I messed something up. 5 and arrow. Done. Well, we're back here the next day and man, this is still gross and disgusting looking. It's a really good time to give it a power wash and see what happens. When it's dry, all that flaky rust will come off really, really easily with just a wire brush. And also, this head is looking good. Well, whatever's under the green soup, I'm sure is gonna look pretty good. So, I just wanted to say really, really quick, check out Angry German Garage on YouTube. He just commented on one of my last videos when I asked about your guys' channels and said that he's got a channel. He's got 400 and something subscribers, so he's working his way up. And working on some Australian stuff and putting an LS in a Volvo 240, so you just can't lose. So check it out and tell me what your guys' channels are. So if anybody here's got a channel that, you know, you do car stuff and you're working hard at it and stuff, let me know. And I want to check it out, and then, you know, I'll do a shout out and maybe you'll get some more traffic from my little tiny channel. So yeah, let's keep it up. So I got a bunch more parts put in, so just been doing this off camera just to make it a little bit quicker. But this is the everything cleaner that I am absolutely in love with. This stuff is awesome. I found it cheaper to buy a 5-gallon bucket than to just buy the little bottles. And this side was in last night, and look how clean that is, just with a quick wipe. I haven't even rinsed this yet. So I'll pull all the valves out and power wash it. And I've got my valley cover in there. One valve cover that I have. That one there's over in the nasty solution just to start loosening it up. And I'll put it in that one later. The time for power washing is here. So I got it rolled out here on the dirt, not on the nice clean concrete pad. Power washer's ready. Block is ready. Got some concoction of what looks like jungle juice, but it's some sort of car soap, and I put some everything cleaner in it. And I'm gonna go power wash it. Hi, Dwayne. Hey? Okay, you're welcome. Dwayne's gonna hold the camera. Hello. I'm gonna try to figure out how to set this up. I don't know how to use this actually. Or do I? This engine build. Because even when I screw up, it's gonna be information. Well, every other time that I power wash the block, I've made an absolute steak, so I don't expect this to be any different. Oh yeah. One of those days. Oh, Doesn't taste very good. Oh, geez, sorry. Man, it gets rid of some stuff. Oh, I can't see. I was gonna tell you to stand like somewhere, but nowhere is safe. Directly into the oil gallery should be safe. Should I let this soak for like
5-10 minutes?
Yeah, okay. I got a feeling this is going to be a perfect thumbnail for the video anyway. Well, it's water again. I can't see. Oh, the lens is the only thing that didn't get buried on the phone, too. I'm also. Oh, it came out half decently clean, even. Just as it sits. A little bit of flaky rust there, I get rid of this. That's been 5-10 minutes, I guess. Oh, this is where it gets sucky.
Oh, there.
I can't really tell if I'm spraying anything or not. The water's just going around the glasses into my eyes. I'm absolutely soaked. This did nothing. Rubber roots was an awful idea because it's just puddling in the bottom of my shoes now. Not a good idea. What a terrible thing to do in November. I'm froze. Okay. Oh, I can hear myself getting sick. I don't hate it. It's much cleaner inside now. All the sawdust is gone. And the cam bearings I didn't look at. But I'm sure you can. Sweet. Works for me. Well, that much is done, and I am absolutely soaked. You can, yep. Yeah, none of that worked at all. I was like, I'll wear a big winter's coat so the water like deflects off. No, it's soaked in. I was like, I'll wear rubbers. I wore rubber boots. And all that did was collect the water in the bottom near my socks. That was fun. So, yeah, this is perfect. I'm happy with this. It's funny how this side of the block has like a rustier looking surface. This one here seems nice and clean, but I'll go over it with them with some like 320 grit sandpaper on a block or something. And everything down here looks wonderful. So I'm going to go over it with the blowgun really fast, and I'll just do it on time lapse because this video is getting hellishly long again, of course. So I'll just blow that out really quick. And we do have a couple of really good shop fans. I think Moog sent us. So I'll put those on the block in strategic locations to blow as much water out of the cylinders and stuff as I can. Like up through here and there. And then later on I'll turn the block sideways so it's blowing in through there. And just to make this thing as dry as possible, because the climate here is so salty. We're like 50 feet from salt water. So it'll actually rust overnight. Like that would be all yellow tomorrow if I left it. So, hey look, there's the fans. These are wicked. And I'll set those up after. So the fans are all set up. I have them blowing through the bottom of the block right now, so it should go out all the cylinders and dry out the cam area. Hopefully that's not too much noise. The cam area, obviously the bottom crankcase part, and the cylinders. I can actually feel the air coming out through the cylinders right here now, and up through the lifter bores and stuff. We can already see that these cylinders are starting to turn yellow. That's just from sitting here for about 20 minutes. So I'm gonna grab some light oil, just some like air tool oil or something like that, and just wipe those cylinders over really quick and then wipe them dry. That should help protect them until I get the hone put down through it and everything is perfectly dry. But as for now, that's all done. So I'm all done for this video. This is the exact point where I wanted to be by the end of this, so I'm really happy with how everything is going. So on the next video, I'm going to hopefully maybe have it masked, or maybe be ready to paint, maybe put on a first coat, something like that. But I do have to tap all the holes, and I don't have taps for the head bolts or the main cap bolts. So I'm going to just cut slits in a bolt lengthways, cut 2 or 3 in it with a grinder, and just run them down through, run them back up through, blow the holes out. They'll be good. This is not tapping a bare hole. This is just chasing threads to make sure there's no debris left in it, no rust, you know, no oil, anything like that. So it should be done relatively quickly. It's only, I don't know, it's probably 50 or 60 holes. I gotta shave my beard, it's getting on my nerves. There's probably only 50 or 60 holes in this engine, so it's not like I'm gonna be here for 6 months doing this. And then directly after that, after I get that cleaned up, start painting. Still need to come up with a color. I'm not quite sure yet. I've got 4 colors to pick from, and I think I'll lay them all up against the block, see which one I like the best, or which one I don't like, because it's going to be pretty much hidden anyway, so maybe I'll do yellow, but I just don't want to have a yellow block. It sounds awful. But anyway, all done up for today. So thanks again to all the new subscribers, and thanks for checking out this. Thanks for checking out the van. And a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to check it out, it is patreon.com/stationroadratrods. And stick around for the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody.